Hello everybody, today is Maundy Thursday, so that's the Thursday before Easter Sunday, and I thought I really want to make a video for you guys, for the young people or anyone else who wants to watch it as well, to think about Maundy Thursday, to think about a little bit about Good Friday and what that means, because although the week is all heading towards the excitement of Easter Sunday and it's going to be great, there are a few things that it's good to pause and think about along the way, and Maundy Thursday and Good Friday are one of them. So I've made this video for you guys. I hope you find it interesting. I hope you enjoy it. I'm really missing you guys and seeing you all, but I'm praying for you, and yeah, so I wanted to make this as a gift to you guys, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. The Lord Jesus, on the night he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this, whenever you drink it, in remembrance of me." Now, you might have heard those words before. They come from a letter to Christians living in the ancient city of Corinth. And we often use those words in a communion service as well. It describes a moment in Jesus' life when he talks about his death, and he shows his disciples, his friends, what that means through bread and through wine. And he gives them a way to remember him and what he is about to do. It was the Passover, a time when Jewish people have a special meal to remember an amazing rescue, from slavery into freedom, from death into life. The Israelites, God's people, were slaves in Egypt, and Pharaoh refused to let them go free. God heard the cry of his people and had set in motion a plan to rescue them. Through Moses, God had shown Pharaoh his power through the form of plagues. But Pharaoh still refused to free God's people. So God sent one last plague. All the firstborn sons would die. But God told the Israelites to do something that night. To kill a perfect lamb and to paint its blood over each doorway, and all those inside the house would be kept safe. So they did. They each killed a lamb and they painted the blood over the door. They knew they'd have to leave quickly, so there was no time for bread to rise, so they made bread without yeast. God kept his word, and as the angel of death travelled through the land of Egypt, it passed over the houses with the blood of the perfect lamb over the door, and everyone inside was kept safe. In the morning, Pharaoh finally relented, and God's people walked free. They left Egypt, and they started the long walk to the land that God had promised them. So, on the night that Jesus was betrayed, this is what he and his disciples were doing. They were remembering the Passover, God's rescue of his people from slavery, with a special meal, including bread made without yeast. There were certain things that people did and said during this meal to help them remember the story of God's rescue. But on this night, the night that Jesus was betrayed, he did something new. Jesus took the bread and broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In just a few hours, one of his closest friends would betray him. He would be taken before the chief priests and the authorities, questioned, lied about, insulted, beaten, and rejected. And then finally, he'd be taken outside the city walls to die a criminal's death, the most shameful and painful way that you could die. And his body would be broken. And Jesus did all that willingly, because he knew this was how God was going to rescue his people. Jesus also took the cup and said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it, in remembrance of me." Jesus knew he was going to die, that his blood would be spilled. As the disciples were remembering the blood of a lamb that had kept their ancestors safe many years before, Jesus was now telling them that his blood was going to be like the blood of the perfect lamb, that it would keep people safe from death too. Every one of us has done wrong things, things that separate us from God, and the Bible calls that sin. God longs for us to be free from sin and to have life. But no matter how hard we try, we cannot get rid of our sin or do enough good things to make up for it. We need a rescuer to save us from our sin, to bring us from slavery to freedom, from death to life. And that's what Jesus came to do. He lived a perfect life, and his body was broken, and his blood was poured out as he died on the cross. He took every punishment for sin in that moment. He was our rescuer. Jesus gave his disciples a new meal to remember an amazing rescue from slavery into freedom, from death into life. We remember Jesus' death with broken bread and with poured out wine, and we call it communion. Maundy Thursday and Good Friday are a time of remembering what Jesus did. And it can feel like a sad day in some ways. But we also have the glimmer of light and hope in our hearts as we look ahead to Easter Sunday. Because although Jesus' death was full of pain and brokenness, we know this is not the end of the story. As the women went to the tomb that Sunday morning, they found it strangely, mysteriously empty. And the world would never be the same again.